Hello, welcome to Learning Life Podcast. My name is Tadisha, and I'm so glad you're here. This is a safe place where we can both learn and unlearn a lot of things about life. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back to Learning Life Podcast. I'm Tadisha, and I have so much I want to talk about. I don't know where to start to open up my notes. But today I'm going to talk about self-love and self-hate. I want to ask you, when is the last time you did something to show yourself love? And I don't mean anything like the typical stuff like a pedicure or facial, although, I love this stuff. I need a pedicure right now. But not just the grooming or the pampering, but I mean a genuine act of self-love. Doing something that nurtures the inner you, nurtures your soul. You probably can't really think of anything off the top of the head, and I have to say it's the same for me. And so I asked that just to stir up some thoughts. And I want to share my opinion about, and it's that it seems the whole world, and I know generalizations can be wrong, but in my opinion, the destructive state of the world is due to people who have a lot of self-hate, okay? So I want to go to ground zero. I want to talk about how from a very young age, as soon as we enter school, or behavior modification, as some might say. It's a place of behavior modification, school is. As soon as we enter school, we're taught limiting beliefs and we're taught self-hate. We're taught not to use our brain. That's the irony. You're taught to use your brain less efficiently. You're taught to work as a team just enough to pass that group project, to make a passing grade, but not to connect and to love everyone around you. And the funny thing is, children naturally love each other despite how different they may look from each other, the background differences, cultural differences, religious differences. Children naturally love each other. But after they are taught by adults who are supposedly intelligent, all of a sudden they stop loving each other. And worse, they start to hate themselves because now they are learning from these adults self-hate. They're learning dysfunction. If a kid already comes from a family that's dysfunctional, now is being reinforced in the school environment, and that's just going to spell disaster. And see, I can say this because I'm a living proof of this. I started school and I was crazy kid, okay? I mean, not like that, but I just liked getting into trouble and I was very curious and I liked exploring. And so when I got in school, the teacher that I got for my classroom, she was very strict and very uh uptight, and not in the way that is a personality trait, where some people are just strict and uptight. She was doing a psychological conditioning on us as children in a classroom. I've mentioned this before in some YouTube videos or whatever. So she was doing some psychology on children that this kid is going to be this way. Because I remember it very well. There's one kid, he had issues at home. He was being raised by his grandmother, just like me, and she didn't have a loving approach. She would keep him right by her desk, and she had no concern for his well-being. And so she was just adding salt to the injury, that this child already has some issues at home, and now she's going to just seal his fate because she's going to reinforce the concept that he's unloved, that he has no one to turn to, and instead of teaching him knowledge, she's going to teach him dysfunction and how to hate himself. I remember this kid. I liked him. Anyways, the other kids, she would manipulate. One time, I was trying to hang out with my friend, and the funny thing, so this is like second grade, yeah. I was trying to hang out with my friend, and all of a sudden, she tells me I can't go to recess with my friend. I had to go to recess with another kid. And this kid was very, very, very shy, quiet like a mouse. She paired me with her. Me being a rambunctious kid, I was like, I couldn't get why she took me from my friend and made me walk to recess with this kid. I was like, we ain't got nothing in common with each other. I couldn't get it. She's gonna make me be friends with this kid who is nothing like me? So, of course, you had to do it because, kids. So when I got to recess, this might have been another time, I loved like matriculating through the groups. And I would just be seeing what's going on the playground. I guess I just liked the energy of all the kids in different groups hanging out with each other. And I was just curious about what everybody would be doing. And so I was looking at one set of girls, they were jump roping, and another set was doing something else and whatever. And all of a sudden, my teacher calls me out of the playground and she's like, "You got to sit here on the bench." You know how frustrated I felt as a kid? First off, I didn't understand. I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just, as I say, I was a social butterfly. And I had to do what she said because she was the teacher. And so I sat there on the bench the whole recess and I can remember it like yesterday. I felt frustrated. I felt anger, maybe even a little bit of rage that I had to sit alone for no reason. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg because I know maybe some of you listening have worse stories than this. But the point that I'm trying to share is how people and where we would think that we are learning and becoming better in a school is a place that ironically can be a place of ignorance, of teaching self-hate. And that's that's the most ignorant, backwards thing that you could ever do, I say, as an adult, is to stunt the future of any child because, children belong to God. So there's a Bible passage that says, if you offend any of these little ones, children, he said, this is what Jesus said. He said, it's better that you put a millstone around your neck and jump into the sea. Do you know what a millstone is? I saw one years and years ago during a family vacation. A millstone was what they used to grind the wheat to make bread. And so the thing is like a ton, okay? It's like, size-wise, maybe the size of a average or a medium-sized kitchen table or something like that, or a coffee table. That's how a millstone looks. You could go online and look up an ancient millstone, you'll see it. So the thing is a ton. And so Jesus said, better that you go and put a millstone on your neck and jump in the ocean than to offend one of my little ones. All right? So anyone who interferes with the future of children, who teaches self-hate, teaches dysfunction, teaches anything other than love and knowledge and empowerment to children, need I say more? So when I think about this, I say to myself, well, you can see where this had an impact on you. It taught you to be insecure. It taught you that you could not just fully be yourself and explore the world. It taught me second guess myself. There are many more examples I could give, but that's just a major one. And each time something happens like this, where someone teaches you a little lesson in self-hate, it reinforces itself and it gradually becomes stronger and stronger and stronger till now all you can do is operate within the means of what they taught you. And it just grows and it festers. And now a person, when you teach them and instill in them this belief in a person from childhood that they have no identity, that they're worthless, for whatever reason that you want to use. Some of the common reasons used to be race or uh, cultural background or religion or whatever it is. There's always some reason to create an environment of hate. So there's always some excuse, right? Whatever the excuse, it doesn't matter. And of course, you're going to hear me go back to my beliefs is that it's spiritual. I was listening to someone recently. I just love listening to random things on the internet. And someone said, it's light versus dark. It's good versus evil. So we're still caught up on surface things. We're still caught up on stupid little differences, visual differences and whatnot. We've been taught to be ignorant. We've been taught to hate ourselves. Think about it. And I want to add this. If you think of something that you consider as an act of self-love, I want to guess one of those things might be treating yourself out to some food. For me, that used to be one thing that I would consider an act of self-love. And I won't say it's the worst thing to treat yourself to ice cream or a cake or whatever after doing something well, completing a project. Well, that's great. But think about it now. What we've been taught to consider a reward, is it really a reward? Now, I know this may sound, you're probably going to doubt this, but is it really a reward to get a slice of cake? Think about it. As in, is that cake good for you? It tastes sweet, and so it's been called a reward. But really, is it a reward? Is sweetness and sugar a reward? Just stay with me. You know, sugar is a modern invention. I think it's like, what, the last 200 years or so? Because they had to get sugar from like tropical areas. And that's why all the plantations, the sugar plantations were like in the Caribbean. Anyways, my point here is that you've been taught the reward. You've been taught what to value and what not to value. You've been taught self-hate. So you get something for yourself as a reward, but is it really good for you? That's the point I'm trying to make. Is it good for you? So I just want to encourage you to think for yourself about how you treat yourself. Are you treating yourself well? Or are you allowing something that you've internalized from some experience or from something that someone tried to teach you a lesson about so that you could oppress yourself and hate yourself? Think about it, because I'm thinking about it. Don't let people project their self-hate onto you. And truly, only a person who hates themselves would want to see destruction. And personally, can I share this? I know this from experience because there's been time in my life where I felt so at a loss. Matter of fact, my energy was like saying, I want this to be destroyed because internally I feel this way about myself now. If there was no one else on which this destructive idea could manifest on, it would manifest on the person who is garnering the self-hate. And so you would probably notice that this person is going to be doing something maybe addictive or whatever. I want to add one more thing. A lot of times the people who have the best heart, when they are being oppressed and they're, in a bad situation, even, I would say even to a certain extent, addiction, they're hurting themselves more to avoid hurting others. But when you think of addiction, I'm not trying to stray off topic too much, but it depends on what kind of addiction. I've noticed people who have food addiction, and I've kind of suffered from this. They're kind of like suffering from something, and rather than taking it out on somebody else, they just de-stress by eating. But that is a form of self-hate because you have been taught not to stand up and correct whatever it is that is causing your problem, to require that food, that binge eating, that emotional eating to regulate yourself. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I really just want you to think about it. How can you change? How can you observe yourself, study yourself, see, are you living life out of someone else's theory? Are you truly loving yourself? Okay? So I hope this message blessed you, and yeah, stay tuned. Oh, also, I want to add, I am doing a book club. I really think it's important to nourish the mind. And so I'm doing a book club. You can follow me on social media if you want to learn more about it. And that's it. Please like, comment, and share. Until next week, take care. This is Learning Life Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you learned something, that you enjoyed this episode. If you want to support this podcast, please subscribe. Thank you so much. See you next week.